Hello everybody, welcome to St. Olaves Mock 2 video walkthrough. We're starting off with the English comprehension section, and just to answer the text a little bit, have more context behind it, we are going to summarize the text, and it's about how bats, vampire bats specifically, may be unable to learn important information about foods they eat. And when scientists did a test compared to vampire bats, fruit bats, and the common brown bat, it was only vampire bats that couldn't form that aversion to foods that made them sick. For example, when they were given an injection that made them vomit. So it's just talking about the scientists' hypotheses and whether they came to a conclusion or not. So starting with question number 1, according to the passage, vampire bats are unlike other bats in that they are unable to, given that the whole paragraph, the whole text is about forming food aversions. Let's try and find a quote from the text. If an animals generally form aversions to food. However, vampire bats are unable to. And this is what the whole text is about, so we can say the answer is B. Question 2, bats needed to be able to detect the cinnamon because over here it talks about cinnamon. All the fed meals were laced with cinnamon, a spice they would be able to detect. Why did they need to detect it? Because they were going to be made to throw up after. So it doesn't say that they enjoy eating cinnamon foods. It doesn't say that they have allergies. So it can't be D. We know that it makes the most sense for their scientific experiment that they needed to associate their sickness with a distinct taste, because they're trying to make them see if they have an aversion to a specific taste, if it makes them sick. Therefore, the answer would be C. Question 3, the fruit bat and common bat did not consume the food they previously associated with sickness because they had. It shows in the text, because remember we're always trying to find evidence from the text, that the fruit bat and common bat did not consume the food they had learned from previous experience to avoid it. So unlike the vampire bat, they could learn from previous experience. Question 4, which of the following accurately describes the organization of the passage? So this is a very important skill, being able to find structures and what's introducing or what's an overview. So this one, it already tells us, it gives us an overview because it's not really introducing, only because it's giving us our conclusion already. It's saying the end, what the scientists were trying to conclude, that vampire bats are unable to learn aversions to food sources. So it gives us an overview, and it gives us some scientific information, and then it shows how they came to this conclusion. It shows why they would have less aversions, because they eat blood from other animals who have already learnt to adapt to this. So at first we are given pretty much the entire contents of the entire thing, not just introducing or explaining. They are providing the overview. So the answer would be D. Question 5, based on the information in the passage, the scientist research involving the vampire food aversion is. Now they do say that scientists suggest further studies in the variety of foods are used to be most helpful in determining what would actually cause these vampire bats to come back. So if they're suggesting further studies, that means as of now their studying is incomplete. They're still trying to find out what makes these vampire bats go back to their food sources. It's not exactly shaky because it's given us a test. It's not definite either. The most viable answer is B. Question 6, based on its use in the final paragraph, the word impending belongs to which of the following food groups? Not food groups, word groups. So we can see impending here, despite the possibility of impending ailment. So ailment means a sickness, if you didn't know that. So they're returning despite the possibility of impending ailment. That sounds like it's something that's coming. Therefore, the word that makes most sense is approaching, coming, imminent, because they're waiting for it. They're trying to find food sources despite whether they will have a sickness come to them or not. So it would be A. We have another passage here as well, which, to quickly summarize, is about Isaac Newton, and his discovery of gravity, and how for the first time man had proof that the universe was not completely unexplainable. And after this discovery, it goes on to explain in the last paragraph that this was the beginning of a period of time called the Enlightenment, when there were loads of scientific thinkers, and how this helped the United States of America as a country to establish itself. So let's start with question number 1. What best describes what the author does in the first paragraph? So in the first paragraph, we have a story where he says, or the author says, we all know the story, that blah, 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 you know how it goes. And then they begin to say that it's not true, of course. Therefore, for question number 1, the author assumes that the reader knows the story and then refutes it. This special word refute means to go against it. He's not merely just introducing the anecdote, he's saying that it is wrong. Question number 2, what made Isaac Newton interested in studying gravity? So we can see here that Newton was not interested by the apple, but by a comet. So we know that A is the answer. Question 3, what does the phrase ripples all across the world mean? So for his findings and theories in his Principia Mathematica, this idea was shocking. His was the first well-proven case for a reconfiguration of the universe. It sent ripples all across the world. For the first time, man had proof that blah, 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 blah. So what does ripples across the world mean? It sounds like it's to shake the world because of how shocking something is. Is it physically shaking the earth? No, it's not. It's talking about the scientific theories that were circulating at the time. So we know this isn't to do with ocean tides. It's just a metaphor. It's talking about how scientific theories across the world were shaken by this theory. It didn't really help them prove themselves, therefore it's not B. And D seems to be the most applicable, as it had far-reaching consequences for the world of science. Question 4, why did the author write this parrot? He wrote it mostly to... From the whole of the text, we are centered on Newton and his most important discovery of gravity. And though it does talk about other things, it's in a tiny section at the end of the paragraph. It's sort of just saying that this is also some stuff that was born of the period. So the author most likely wrote this passage not to just simply refute the common misconception, otherwise the author could have just refuted it and gone, but he went into a lot of depth about why this discovery was so important. Therefore, A would be the answer. Question number 5, the end of the passage, the author implies that. So at the end of the passage, the author talks about the Enlightenment period and the Renaissance thinkers at the time. During this time, great thinkers questioned everything that they assumed to be true for centuries, and the fact that Newton's findings was the birth of the Golden Age. So Newton changed everything that the Renaissance thinkers knew. Then it talks a little bit about how from these beliefs that the United States of America were born, but this is a very large butterfly effect. Newton didn't essentially give birth to the United States of America. So the only statement that is broad enough but not making a sweeping statement, such as there'd be no United States of America without Newton, we can confidently say that C, Newton did change science and philosophy forever. So we're starting off with the maths question, with question number 1, and we are told a plant grows at a steady rate of 0.2 centimeters every single day. So to help us, we're going to draw a quick timeline. We're starting off with the 19th of Jan, and if it's already 6 centimeters high, they're telling us that we need it to grow to 11 centimeters. So how many days do we actually have to find in between the amount it takes to grow 5 centimeters, because that's the difference between 6 and 11. So if we need to know how many days it takes to grow, I'm going to times 0.2 and 5 by 10 to find out the rate. Then we get 2 centimeters. We need to know how many it grows to grow 50 centimeters, just to make that division easier. That's the only reason we're multiplying it by 10. So 2 goes into 50 25 times. So it takes 25 days from the 19th to grow 5 centimeters. So how many days in September? We have 30 days are in September, April, June, and November. So January, it goes up to 31. So just to get to January 31st, let's put that over here. Jan 31st, how many days is that? That's 31 minus 19, which is equal to 12 days. And then we have to make 25. So if you've made 12 days, we have to add 13. So in February, we are in February for 13 days. Therefore, the answer will be February 13th, which is B. We have some values for question 2 to fill in. We have the total of year 5, and it's going to go this way. So if the total is 25, and 12 like cheese and onion, then whatever's left is going to have to be 25 minus 12, which is equal to 13. Then we are also left here with the total here. To find this total, we need to do 57 minus 25, which is equal to 32. You'll see when you add these together, you get this number here, 57. So if we have that total as well, we can also subtract 14 to find out this number. 32 minus 14 is going to give us 18, to give us a total of 32. Then we have this total and then that total. Let's just see if we actually do need to figure out how, if we have to figure out these totals. It's asking what percentage of the pupils in year 5 like cheese and onion. Do we have total year 5 students? Yes, we do. So percentage is equal to cheese and onion over cheese and onion is 12 over total year 5 students, which is 25. So I think we didn't even have to work these out. So save yourself time if you can. Multiply that by 100 to find out percentage. 25 goes into 100 4 times. 12 times 4 is 48. Therefore, do we have one of our solutions? Yes, we do. Our answer is D. This, for question 3, we're going to have to write some steps down. So we know 100p, we're told at £1, which is equal to 100p, is equal to 125 cents. Because cents is what makes up the dollar. And we want to know what $1 was in pence. So to just make it easier for us, we're going to divide both sides by 25 because we can then make it easier to find $1 because $1 is equal to 100 cents. So 125 divided by 25 is equal to 5. 100 pence divided by 25 is equal to 4. So 4p is equal to 5 cents. Now that we have that, we need to find $1. Well, that's equal to 100. So what do we have to multiply it by? We have to multiply it by 20 each side. So we're trying to find 100 cents. How much does that equal to? We multiply it by 20 and we end up with 80 pence. That gives us D as our answer. For question 4, we have a few steps we need to figure out. 96 years, we already know how many that is in years, it's just 96. 96 months, to find out how many years that is, we're going to just divide it by 12 because there are 12 months in 1 year and we end up getting 8 years. 8 years, 96 weeks, we know how many weeks are in 1 year. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight this so we know what we're going to add up later on. Then we have 96 days. We know actually 96 weeks. So how many? We have 52 weeks in 1 year. 52 weeks equals 1 year. So how many weeks do we have left to make a full year? We're going to do 96 minus 52 because we know that we have 1 year in there. 96 minus 42 gives us 44 weeks left. So we already know we have to add 1 year plus 44 weeks. So we've got another year we need to highlight, and that's going to be for 96 weeks. Next, we have to figure out, does 96 days make a full year? To find out how many weeks this is, we've got 96 divided by 7. 7 goes into 9 one time, remainder of 2. 7 goes into 26 about 3 times. And then we have the remainder of about 5, and then we go in around 13.7 weeks. However, do we get another year? We have got 44 weeks. 44 plus 13 weeks that we have left over from the 96 days is equal to 57. Therefore, we have another week, another year we have to take into account. We have to add 1 year because of this 96 days. Added on to the 44 weeks, it makes another year. And then adding from this 96 hours old doesn't really add a whole year. It's merely a few days. So how many years do we have to add in total? 8 plus 1 plus 1, that's plus 10 years in total. And if I'm 96, then 96 plus 10 is equal to 106. Therefore, my answer will be E. For question 5, again, we're going to draw another diagram. We're going to draw a timeline. And if we have over here, he has to get to work at 8:15 a.m. It takes him 15 minutes to get dressed. We're actually going to work backwards. So, or we can add this all together. How much does it take him to do everything all together? We have 15 plus 20. 15 plus 20 plus 12. And then all together, that's all equal to 47. So we need to figure out what's the latest he can leave. So we already, to get to 8, because we're working backwards, that's 15 minutes. So when we have 15 minutes, that means we have another 47 minus 15 is going to be 32. We have to work back 32 minutes, and that's to 8 o'clock. So if we work back 32 minutes from 8 o'clock, we end up being at 7:28. Hopefully you can see that. Yes, you can. 7:28 a.m. So our answer is B. So to work out the value of B, bear in mind these are the same. We now have to figure out, so let's call this triangle A and triangle B. Using triangle A, we know that there are 180 degrees in a triangle, and we know that one of these angles is 90. So 3A altogether, this is A plus 2A plus 90 is equal to 180 degrees. Then we have to subtract 90 because we're trying to find A. Subtract 90 from both sides, you get 180 minus 90. That means A is equal to 30 degrees. If we know A is equal to 30 degrees, that means given that this is a straight line, we can confidently say this is 150 degrees because we have to do 180 minus 30 to get 150. So if we know this is 150 and these are the same, B and B, that means to make a full triangle, 150 plus this B, so plus 2B is equal to 180. Now we can rearrange this equation. Subtracting 150 from both sides is going to give us 30. That means B is equal to 15 degrees. That means our answer is A. For question number 7, next up we're going to be finding the volume of the shape. And if we have a shape, we always are going to split it into different components. So we have A and B. So we can start figuring out A, and we have our dimensions. We have 4 times 2 times 2. We have length times width times depth. 4 times 2 is going to be equal to 8 times 2 is going to be equal to 16 centimeters cubed because we're working with volume here. And then B, we're going to find out that volume separately as well. And then we have 2. And this is going to be 2 because we have to split this up since this whole length is 4. And the height, they're telling us the height is 2 and then the depth is 2 as well. So essentially we have 2 cubed. and that is going to give us 8. To find out the total volume, so total is equal to 16 plus 8, which is equal to 24. Our answer therefore will be C. So we have a little ladybug that has landed on Sam's bow tie, which is pictured over here for question 8, and it can only travel along the edges of the bow tie. So we are going to find out, without traveling along one edge more than once, how many ways it can get from P to Q. So this is one way over here. Let's choose a different color. This is 1, 2. If it's traveling along this edge, my green line, and ending up over here, that's number 3. Choosing a different color again, let's choose orange. We can go also this way. And that's our 4th way we can go. So if we have 4, that means our answer is D. For question 9, our survey in total is 20%, is 250 students. Do we need to know that though? We just need to know what angle of the pie chart is represented by pizza. So if this is 20% of 360, we know 20% is equal to 1/5, and we should just know that from percentages. 1/5, and how many degrees in total of 360 degrees? We are going to cancel out. 5 goes into 36 7 times, 1 left over, giving us 10, 72. So our answer is going to be D. Question 10, every row, diagonal, and column has to equal to 15. Therefore, if this is going to be 7, 5, that's 12 already. To make 15, we have to add 3. 8 plus 5 is equal to 13, add 2. 2 add 7 is equal to 9, have to add another 6 to make it 15. If that is the case, we know 8 plus A plus 6 is equal to 15. 8 plus 6 is already 14. To get to 15, we just need to add 1. For question 11, there is a sale. Price is reduced by 30%. Irfan buys a carpet which is priced at 280 in the sale. So if it's been reduced by 70%, we know, by 30%, we know that this new sale price is only going to be 70% of the original price, because 100 minus 30 is equal to 70. So if this is 70%, let's find 10% to eventually find 100%. So 10% is going to be 20. Oh, we have to divide both sides by 7. And if we divide this side by 7, we get 40 pounds. 40 pounds. If we know 10% is 40 pounds, that means 100%, because we're trying to find the original price, which is 100%, not the 70. We have to multiply it by 10. When you multiply 40 by 10, we get 400, which means that our answer is A. From 5 to 8 for question 12, let's find the difference. We plus 3, we plus 6, we plus 9. I can see that our difference is going up in multiples of 3. So we're going to add 12 because it goes 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 plus 23 is going to be 35. For question 13, how many counters are there in total? We have 12 plus 17 plus 10 plus 21. Whoops, can you see that? Now you can. 21. If we have all these counters in total, that means we have 60 counters in total. Therefore, if we need to find the probability that it is not orange, it would be easier. We know there are 10 orange counters. Not orange is equal to 60 minus 10, because all the rest will be not orange. So 60 minus 10. We end up with having 50 counters in total that aren't orange. So this is going to be 50 over our total amount of counters, which is 60, which we can simplify to 5, 6. And that is going to be C. So for question 14, we have scores here to a maths test, and he's taken 4 tests. His average mark is 60%. So we know the formula for average is equal to total score, total, over the number of tests divided by 4 is equal to 60. Therefore, the total amount of marks he got over 4 tests is equal to 240 marks in total. So when we add another test in, we have the total number of tests now becomes 5, his 5th test. We have 240 plus a mystery number is equal to 70%. And then we have, well, we actually don't know that his average, he actually scores the 70%. So we have to do 240 plus 70 is equal to our new average. So if we have 240 plus 70 is equal to 310 over 5 is equal to the average. And let's cancel this out. We get 5 goes into 30 6 times, 5 goes into 10 2 times. So we get 62% as our average. For question 15, we know 5 jelly worms. We're doing this one with simultaneous equations. 5 jelly worms plus 7 sherbet dip dabs. We're just going to say that as S, so equals £3.37. That's equation 1. Now we know 5 jelly worms and 2 sherbet dip dabs is equal to £1.57. That's equation 2. And it does say what is a jelly worm, so ideally we'd be finding out J first, but we can't do that without finding out S first, the sherbet dip dab. So we're going to subtract equation 2 from equation 1. We're going to cross out, we get 5S is equal to, that becomes 0, 3 minus 5 borrowed from the 3 becomes 13, £1.80. So S is going to equal to 16p. Actually, this should be 36p over here. S equals to 36p. Once we have that, we can find out we're going to rearrange back into equation, this one would be easier, so equation 2. And then we have 5j plus 2s. We know the value of 1s. That's going to be 36. Is equal to £1.57. So we can rearrange this 5j plus 72. 2 times 36 is 72. It's equal to the same thing. And then we know that 5j is equal to £1.57 minus 72. So bear in mind we're talking about 157 pence. Actually, let's write that down so we don't get confused. Minus 72 pence, and that is equal to 85 pence. Now 1j is going to be equal to 85 over 5, which is 17p. And that will be answer B. I'm going to draw a Venn diagram over here for band and then orchestra. Let's just put this as orch. So the whole school has 100 students. Of these, 60 are in the band, 20 are in the orchestra. So 12 students are in both. So to find out who's left in band and orchestra, we have to subtract it from 60, which is going to be 48. So the rest are 48 are going to be in band, and then we have to subtract from orchestra, which is going to be 8. So 8 are left in the orchestra. So to find out how many are neither the band nor the orchestra, we're going to have to do 100 minus 48, because everything that's in the Venn diagram, they don't do either of the two, Minus 48 minus 12 minus 8 is equal to 32. And that gives us E. Next one, we need to find out the area of the trapezium, and it tells us these already. If this whole measurement is 12 and this is 8, then this little bit is going to be 12 minus 8, which is going to be 4. Let's write down the area of triangle. And that is equal to base times height divided by 2. So let's deal with the triangle first. We have 4 centimeters as the base and then 5 at the height, and we have 5 times 4, which is going to be over 2, which is equal to 20 divided by 2 is 10. Since we have that, we're going to figure out this thing. Let's call this A and B. Let's find the area of rectangle B. We get 8 times 5, which is equal to 40, which gives us the total area. We have to add A plus B is equal to 40 plus 10, which is going to give us 50, and that is solution A. So for 18, what is a special quadrilateral that has 4 lines of symmetry? Now all the others apart from, so imagine this is a square, it doesn't look like a square, but it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can't do the same with a rectangle because it doesn't look the same when you flip it around. So the answer will be a square. So for 2 robots, they're staying the same. So the only information we need for question 19 is it takes 3 hours to build one that's 1.5 meters long. So to build one that is 9 meters long, we have to multiply it by 6 each side to get 9 meters. If we multiply the right hand side by 6, we're going to multiply the left hand side by 6 as well to get 18 hours. That is going to be solution E. So Bert asked Chrissy to ask a question of a number, to think of a number, double it, add 5. So our number is going to be, for example, x. Bert says double this, so we're going to double it times it by 2, 2x, double it, and then add 5. And then she gets that this result is going to be 33. Oh, there should be just 5. So this is just rearranging the equation. We get 2x, we're going to subtract x from both 5 from both sides. 33 minus 5 is going to be 28. X is equal to 28 divided by 2, which is 14. Solution C. Starting off with the verbal reasoning section, question number 1, we have to identify 2 words which do not relate to the other 3. So I can see that when you have sow, bull, mare, vixen, ram, mare is a female horse, vixen I think is a female fox, and so is a female pig. We have bull and ram that are the male versions of animals, so they stand out. For question 2, the 4-letter word is found over here in dent. So what is true of the following word? The first letter is D. For question 3, the 3 letters have been removed from the word in capitals. So they're saying that the virus remains something in nerve tissue until activated. Whenever I think about something in the body, you have something that remains dormant. That's spelled D-O-R-M-A-N-T. We can see we have the word in capitals looks like dormant, and what is the 3-letter word? Man. What's true of the following word? The first letter is M. So for question 4, which one is a preposition? Now prepositions give more idea about where something is or what something is about. So just by elimination, because this one isn't quite obvious because it's not quite on, under, in front of. However, the word about, the teacher's explaining what is it on, if you want to look at it like that. About is the preposition. So it would be D. And the rest you can just eliminate that. They're either nouns or adjectives or determiners. So it would be D. So I can see for question 5 very often that we have the letter R second, or one time we have it third. And what letter goes second? What number goes second or third? We have 6 second, 6 second, and the 6 third. Therefore, I think that R would be 6. If that's the case, we know that the one that has R third, we know that this has to be bird. Therefore, if this one is bird, let's put that in. That means we already know the starting letter for the number we have, which is R. It starts with an R, and the only one that starts with an R is A. Written like this. We also have TAHM. Then we can have A being second. We can have HAM. Then we can have TMAH. And then those are all the combinations we have because we can't have A being last. So how many do we have in total? We have 4. How many syllables are in this phrase? I'm going to do a dot for each one. So the, slow, sly, me, near, mole. How many syllables in total? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Therefore, our answer will be 7. So for 8, we're going to celebrate. We're going to count the amount of letters in the word. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have the same letters, same amount of letters. Therefore, we do have 2 answers here. We can start off with your victory celebrate or your celebrate victories, because ascending means going from smallest to largest. So 2 answers for this one. Question number 9. The buses are kept overnight at the. You keep buses in a depot. So depot spelled like this. What does this word begin with? The word begins with D. Oops, this one. Begins with D, so solution C. So question 10, when I think of paved outdoor area, I think of patio. And can we make patio from this? Yes, you can. P-A-T-I-O. So the 5-letter word begins with P, B. Question 11, the word new and unusual or book story. So the word novel, because rare can be new and unusual, but it does not mean book story. Fiction isn't book story or new and unusual. The only word is novel. And novel can kind of mean new, or if something's got novelty, then it's not normal, it's quite unusual. It can also mean a book or a story. Therefore, the answer is D. Question 12, I'm going to make some notes over here so you can see how much these kids are spending, and I'm just going to scroll down over here. So Jodie spends 15, and we know that Patrick's book costs half as much as Jodie's too. So Patrick is equal to £7.50 because that's half of 15. Let's make that a 0. And then Anise buys a bestseller for 50p more than Patrick, so that's going to be £8. That's £8. And then we have Bilal, Nolan, Anise. They buy a book for £6. So already I'm seeing that Patrick does not spend the least, and we don't know if they bought any other books, Bilal and Noel. The only one that we know for a fact is Annie spends £8 plus 6, which is going to be £14. We have the NVR section, starting off with question 1. How is any of them the odd one out? I can see that all of them have at least one black triangle in their small and big shapes, apart from B. We can see that there's no black triangle over here. For question 2, we can see there's always one white shape at the top and then 2 black shapes followed after it. The only one that fits that criteria with one white shape at the top, 2 black shapes after it, is C. So for 3, we are going to switch the bottom and the top and then invert the shading of the middle one. So if it's black here, it's going to go to white. If it's black, then it's going to go to white. So we're going to cross out these ones, and then we have to switch the shading. Switch the position of them. So this heart is going to go to the top, and then heart is going to go to the bottom, star is going to go to the top. So star is going to go to the top, heart on the bottom, so it's going to be A. So for this one, I can see that E might be a contender because we've got the E under the triangle, which has white on the top and black on the bottom, and the same way around with O is in the right place. However, when you match them together and look at it from this angle, the E is on the right-hand side, where the E has to actually be on the left-hand side when we look at it from like this. So we're going to cross out solution E. I can see that when you join these together, they never actually meet, like this one is meeting. And same with this, we have an O, which means on top of it we need to have a shaded in triangle, which we don't. And then the one that makes sense is when we fold these two together, they're going to meet, and we have E on the left hand side and the right hand side. You're going to look at it from this angle and the triangles match up, therefore the answer is A. So this sequence, we can see that we have a shape on the bottom, and then this shape will double and then have a line through it. So if this is going to double and have a line through it, and they're always facing downwards, and we need to have something that just looks like a downward facing arrow. However, we can also see that there's a horizontal line here. So it looks like it's going normal, and we can also see over here that this will flip. This diagonal line will go to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom. So that means there's some sort of alternating angle on the bottom as well, which means that if this one is going to be horizontal, nothing horizontal. So the answer has to be E. For question number 6, which is the odd one out, for all of them, the black shape is on the inside of the circle. You can see black shape on the inside, apart from A. So for question 7, we know we definitely need a triangle. And this triangle is always going to, the bottom point is going to connect the line. So we can cross out A, and that's it. We know each time we're going to have something facing left, top, right. We have, or in fact, they always experience a 90 degrees rotation clockwise. So this vertical line is going to experience the 90-degree rotation and become horizontal, touching the right-hand corner. In the same way, this is going to 90 degrees rotate, and we're going to have it touching the bottom face. So it will be D. There we go. So for this one, we need to go through all of them, because this one, if it's a reflection on this angle, or whether it's a reflection from here, this would still not be the case, because you'd have to have the shaded side on this side. So that's going to go for any of these, because even if you flip this the other way around, the square would have to be at the top. There isn't even a square here. Same thing. This hatching doesn't make sense with this horizontal here, because it hasn't been flipped upside down or rotated, so we can cross D out. And same with this, the shading should be on the left hand side. The only one that makes sense is this. When you flip it this way, the shading is consistent. It will just flip to this side on the right hand side, and the shape inside will turn around. Therefore, it is E. For question 9, when I see this rotation, I know it's going 90 degrees clockwise, and that ends up on the top. Same way, this blank space is going to end up on the top, and then this is going to point downwards over here. The only one that looks like that is E. Question number 10, we need to complete the box, and I can see that there's one long one here, another long one, then 2 small blocks, which looks like C. So that we can see that it's not this one. If it was, we can infer that it's long, because if it was short, it would stop around there. The fact that it's extending past and the fact that it's longer over here means that it's too long and then too small. Question number 11, we have over here, we have to assume there are no gaps in the block. They have to be joined together with no blocks, because you'd end up getting, we have a small L shape, and then 2. So it looks something like B, because this little 3 shape can, if we draw it like this, we see all of them are, there's a little 3 over there. However, this little 3 shape can also be in C, and then we put this long shape here, and then another L. This makes the most sense, because B means you'd have no gaps, because you can slot this L shape underneath this one. We have L shape, small one. So you have to assume no gaps for the shape, and you get B. Question number 12, we can see that when we wrap this net up all the way, this is going to meet to be the front. So you look at it like this, we're going to get a diamond, and if we look at it from this angle, we can see that this is going to fold inwards to form these 2 right hand shapes. It's going to be checkerboard, and then when you look at it from here, you get diamond at the front. So the answer is going to be D. Starting off with the verbal reasoning section, question number 1, we have to identify 2 words which do not relate to the other 3. So I can see that when you have sow, bull, mare, vixen, ram, mare is a female horse, vixen I think is a female fox, and so is a female pig. We have bull and ram that are the male versions of animals, so they stand out. For question 2, the 4-letter word is found over here in dent. So what is true of the following word? The first letter is D. For question 3, the 3 letters have been removed from the word in capitals. So they're saying that the virus remains something in nerve tissue until activated. Whenever I think about something in the body, you have something that remains dormant. That's spelled D-O-R-M-A-N-T. We can see we have the word in capitals looks like dormant, and what is the 3-letter word? Man. What's true of the following word? The first letter is M. So for question 4, which one is a preposition? Now prepositions give more idea about where something is or what something is about. So just by elimination, because this one isn't quite obvious, because it's not quite on, under, in front of. However, the word about, the teacher's explaining what is it on, if you want to look at it like that. About is the preposition. So it would be D. And the rest you can just eliminate that. They're either nouns or adjectives or determiners. So it would be D. So I can see for question 5, very often that we have the letter R second, or one time we have it third. And what letter goes second? What number goes second or third? We have 6 second, and the 6 third. Therefore, I think that R would be 6. If that's the case, we know that the one that has R third, we know that this has to be bird. Therefore, if this one is bird, let's put that in. That means we already know the starting letter for the number we have, which is R. It starts with an R, and the only one that starts with an R is A. Written like this. We also have TAHM. Then we can have A being second. We can have HAM. Then we can have TMAH. And then those are all the combinations we have, because we can't have A being last. So how many do we have in total? We have 4. How many syllables are in this phrase? I'm going to do a dot for each one. So the, slow, sly, me, ne, mo. How many syllables in total? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Therefore, our answer will be 7. So for 8, we're going to not celebrate, we're going to count the amount of letters in the word. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have the same letters, same amount of letters. Therefore, we do have 2 answers here. We can start off with your victory celebrate or your celebrate victories, because ascending means going from smallest to largest. So 2 answers for this one. Question number 9. The buses are kept overnight at the. You keep buses in a depot. So depot spelled like this. What does this word begin with? The word begins with D. Oops, this one. Begins with D, so solution C. So question 10, when I think of paved outdoor area, I think of patio. And can we make patio from this? Yes, you can. P-A-T-I-O. So the 5-letter word begins with P, B. Question 11, the word new and unusual or book story. So the word novel, because rare can be new and unusual, but it does not mean book story. Fiction isn't book story or new and unusual. The only word is novel. And novel can kind of mean new, or if something's got novelty, then it's not normal, it's quite unusual. It can also mean a book or a story. Therefore, the answer is D. Question 12, I'm going to make some notes over here so you can see how much these kids are spending, and I'm just going to scroll down over here. So Jodie spends 15, and we know that Patrick's book costs half as much as Jodie's too. So Patrick is equal to £7.50 because that's half of 15. Let's make that a 0. And then Anise buys a bestseller for 50p more than Patrick, so that's going to be £8. That's £8. And then we have Bilal, Noel, and Anise. They buy a book for £6. So already I'm seeing that Patrick does not spend the least, and we don't know if they bought any other books, Bilal and Noel. The only one that we know for a fact is Annie spends £8 plus 6, which is going to be £14.